Well, good evening and welcome to this week's edition of the Don't Argue with one of the true superstars of the sport. All thanks to Palmer Bet, of course, in Kurt Gidley. And Gids, as I say, a very good evening. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, good, matey. Going well, mate. How are you?
Mate, I'm just looking over your shoulder there, big fella. Have a look at that. It's like a little wall of honour, mate. You got the Aussie jersey. You got the Newcastle Knights.
Got the Knights one there, mate. Yeah, this is my little haven, mate, a little bar project that I've had ticking away over the years. But yeah, couple of good memories, mate, and those ones in the bar.
Geez, I reckon she's a nice looking little man cave, mate. And it's one of the caves that goes down too. So it actually is a cave.
It is. Yeah. I just need a door, mate, to lock the kids up there.
Hey, listen, let's talk about Magic Round, of course, last weekend. It was fantastic, kids. I love this initiative. I reckon it's got so much potential, hasn't it? And just brilliant to see the crowds and the enjoyment and the whole weekend.
Yeah, it was, matey. I mean, I think they spoke about 130,000 supporters through the gates over that weekend. Amazing. So a huge success. And obviously, it's pretty tough conditions, to be honest, on Friday and even Saturday. There's plenty of rain about. So, yeah, but awesome to have an event like that after the last couple of years and COVID and not too many exciting moments as far as atmosphere and crowds like that over the weekend. So some great footy, couple of upsets, but I think the NRL would class that as a pretty successful weekend, mate.
No, it was an absolute fantastic weekend. And now, listen, you had a massive multi last week, just head-to-head multi, and you only missed the one game, Gids. And the one game that you missed was the Raiders. You took the Sharks to beat the Canberra Raiders. So that's the only game you missed out on last week.
I think so, mate. I'm pretty confident that that's the only one I missed out on. So, yeah, and that was a big upset. That was one of the upsets that I just mentioned, the Raiders beating the Sharks. I think not too many people would have been on that one. So, yeah, mate, almost got it there last week, but pretty rare. I come that close.
Unbelievable, mate. And I must admit, I scoffed at it a little bit because you took the Knights and you took the Panthers to beat. You were confident the Panthers defeating the Storm. So, yeah, good on you, mate. You're around the mark. So I'm looking forward to that little multi later on, okay? So I'm not going to give too much.
Sounds like my old man for the past 20 years, mate. He has a multi every week over the past 20 years. There's always one game or one goal or one try that he misses out on. So, that's punting.
What was your highlight of Magic Round? Was it the Panthers dominating the Storm, or what was your highlight of the weekend?
Oh, it'd have to be, mate, the Knights coming off the back of 7 straight losses. I mean, it was the first game of the weekend, so there was a fair bit of pressure in that game for both teams. We've seen what's happened to the Bulldogs coach Trent Barrett on the back of that game. But look, that was a great start from a personal point of view to see the Knights boys get up. But that to see the dominant performance by the Panthers, mate, over the Storm. It was top 2 teams going at it, and just such a clinical game by the Panthers. So, yeah, bit of a statement there made.
And you just mentioned Trent Barrett there too, the first coach to go. There's always one, sometimes there's 2. I think if everyone, 4 or 5 weeks ago, they probably would have thought Madge might have been the man to go first. But Trent Barrett goes. What's going to happen at the Bulldogs, do you think, mate?
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of talk around that Mick Potter may take over for the rest of the year. So he's a bit of a Canterbury old boy and legend of that club. He's coached at the West Tigers. He's coached over in the Super League, and there's a little bit of talk that Mick Potter may take over for the rest of the year, and who knows what they're going to do or what Gus will do moving forward as far as a long-term coach. So watch this space. But yeah, look, I feel for Baz. I played with Trent Barrett. I played against him, and a tough competitor. I don't believe that he's walked away from that team and that contract that he's in. But who knows what sort of happened behind the scenes. But I find it very hard to fathom that Trent Barrett walks away from anything. He was a real tough competitor on the field and a wonderful player with top skills as a 5'8" in the game. But I find it very hard to believe that he would walk away from a challenge like that.
We need to try and get him on, mate. Don't argue. Can you sort that out for the next couple of weeks, kids? Let him have a couple of weeks and then we'll get him on, and no holds barred. We'll find out the rest.
No holds barred.
Hey, listen, what about the Cowboys? They're on fire at the moment. They've won 5 straight, currently sitting 3rd. Are they the real deal? How deep do you reckon they can go this year, Gids?
Yeah, well, I think we're all asking that question at the moment. I don't think anyone would have guessed or predicted where they'd be sitting third at the moment. I mean, internally, yeah, they might have set that type of goal, but I think that still would have been a lofty goal at this stage of the year. I guess the jury's still out whether they can maintain that right through till the semis, and obviously when you get to finals, it's a whole new competition again. So, look, they're playing with plenty of confidence at the moment. They're obviously enjoying their footy. They're happy, in and around press conferences and media conferences. So that's a good headspace and certainly a great spot to be team morale-wise. So, yeah, another big game from this week. And at the moment, they're over-exceeding probably a lot of people's expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the top four, you got to chuck the Cowboys in that mix, obviously, because they're sitting in there at the moment. Storm and Panthers, they look like they're a bit of a lock, kids. Like you think they're going to finish 1-2. Who else is going to make up the top four in your eyes? We've got the Eels we want to chuck in there as well. They're at $2.10. The Sharks are at $2.25. The Roosters are at $2.30. And the Broncos are at $4.50. And the Cowboys are at $3.30, I should say. I missed them. So What's your thoughts? There's a little bit of value there if you can pick the right team, Gids.
Yeah, for sure, mate. I really enjoyed that game, the Eels versus the Roosters there last week. I thought it was a real quality contest. Looked like both teams were out on their feet at several stages throughout the second half, and both teams were fighting back and just clawing their way just in front. I thought the Eels had a top opportunity to sort of bring it to 31-30. I think with only a few minutes to go, but just dropped it, I think, before the line under the post. But so it was closer than probably what the scoreline reflected. So, but mate, I just love the way Tedesco is coming into not just great form, but he's involved in so many plays. It seems like every set he's getting his hands on the ball, and obviously anything from sort of kick returns to yardage carries to attacking plays. I admire the way he plays the game, and if any other fullbacks out there want to improve their game, go and have a look at his footage. So, yeah, I like the way they're building. Suwali on the wing was impressive there on the weekend. So they're looking pretty good at the Roosters at the moment. The Eels, they're still.
What about? I was going to say, so the Eels have beaten Penrith and they've beaten the Storm, and then the week after they've dropped the game. So they've beaten the two best teams in the competition, but then it's like they just take the foot off the pedal. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, man, I think I heard Gutherson in his press conference either today, I think it was, and he was exactly saying that it's not good enough to be able to beat the top few teams and then come up against teams who they're expected to win or compete with and just not perform on the day. I mean, again, it was a really tough performance and a high quality game, but they just seem to lack consistency or belief at different times throughout the year, and sometimes we've seen them get to the semis and they crumble after the first couple of weeks.
Right, so who's going to make the top four? Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with, mate, Storm, Panthers. I'm going to stick the Roosters in there, and I'm going to go Sharks, mate. I think I said that early in the year that I liked the Sharks at the start of the year.
Right, love it, mate. Hey, what about, I kind of skipped over it, but the Titans and Dragons Golden Point Thriller, that was probably the game of the weekend, wasn't it? That was a ripper.
Yeah, it was a beauty. They're back and forth again, and come up to a young fella, Jaden Campbell, demanded the ball off the scrum and attacked the line, and it was a one-on-one miss between him and Ben Hunt, and he set up a nice set play on the back of that, and they scored in the corner, mate, to win by golden try, not just golden point, which is again pretty rare. You normally get the golden point and everyone's putting their hand up for field goals and charge downs and that sort of thing, but it was nice to see a golden try and the Titans get up.
Yeah, absolutely sensational. Now, listen, kids, let's turn our attention now to this weekend. It's going to be a beauty. Round number 11. It is flying by at the moment. Knights v Broncos Thursday night, McDonald Jones Stadium. Head-to-head, the Knights are $3.12. Broncos $1.37. At the line, the Broncos minus 7.5 $1.90. They split the games last year. Selwyn Cobbo has 5 tries in his last 2 games, so he's in great nick at the moment. Can your Knights make it 2 in a row, kids, or what are you thinking? The Broncos?
Well, I don't know. Look, they've got to find some consistency just in their performances, not just about win or loss. But look, a few things from the game last week. That the Broncos, Reynolds' kicking game, mate, was unbelievable. He seems to be in a great frame of mind. He seems to be steering the team around really well, and they're really gelling at the moment, which we always probably expected from him. It's going to take a little bit of time, but he's been impressive. I'm impressed with their back line. Herbie, Katoni Staggs, Selwyn Cobbo, Corey Oates, Tamari Martin. Like, it's a pretty impressive outside backs. And it's, look, if I'm looking at the outside backs compared to the consistency of the Knights boys at the moment, they've got them covered, to be fair. The Knights have, first time Anthony Milford pulls on a Knights jersey, mate, this weekend after a fair bit of time out of the game. And it just happens to be up against his old club, the Broncos. So I reckon he'd be pretty pumped to, number one, get back on the park and improve himself and put what he's been through behind him.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, let's move along to the next game.
So, mate, I guess I haven't even given me a tip there. I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go to the Knights, but they've been away for a few weeks, and I'd like to see him stick with some decent form. So I'm going to go 1-12, $4.
The Knights.
Yeah, back home. Bit of confidence.
Loyal, are you?
Yeah.
You're obviously going, are you? You're heading to the game.
I'll be there, mate. Yeah, Thursday night, mate. Yeah.
So you can't tip
Absolutely.
against. If you're going to the footy, you cannot tip against the Knights. Otherwise, you're never going to hit the end of it. Good call. Good call, mate. Hey, let's turn our attention to Friday night, Leichhardt Oval. Tigers v the Bulldogs. Obviously, been a tumultuous week for the Bulldogs. Poor old Tigers. They've had a pretty tumultuous season, to be honest. Head-to-head, $1.80 the Tigers. Who would have thought? They're going to be favourites going into the game. Bulldogs are at $2 at the line. The Tigers minus 1.5 at $1.95. Split the games last year. It's 15th v 16th. And the least win odds, which we spoke about, we touched on last week, the Bulldogs are $2.40 and the Tigers are at $3, all thanks to Palmerbet. So when you look at that, you think, well, how the hell are the Tigers favourite head-to-head?
Yeah, mate. Well, mate, we've seen there, Matty. We spoke about Madge, the pressure off him after a couple of wins in a row. Well, all of a sudden they're back where they were. 2 wins, bottom of the table, and they need to fight. Unfortunately, they've lost Luke Brooks there by the looks of it with a hemi for who knows? It could be a couple of weeks, it could be a month. Any type of hemi, they're not a quick process to return to the field, especially when you're playing at the halves and you rely on your speed. So he'll be a loss for him, that's for sure. But, mate, again, I don't know how many times, I don't know about in just rugby league, mate, but AFL as well, how many times does a coach get sacked and that team come out and put a decent performance in?
Every week.
Every time. I know, mate. So that's a real danger for the Tigers. And is it enough for me to sway and back the Bulldogs in this one? I don't think so. So I'm going to go with the Tigers, mate, on this one. But again, we've seen it plenty of times before. The coach gets sacked and the team come out and put in a performance. You think, hang on, how come you weren't doing that for the last bloke?
And $1.80 is short for the West Tigers, isn't it? I just can't believe it. How things have changed in a couple of weeks. Friday night doubleheader, of course. Parramatta Eels taking on the Manly Sea Eagles, Combank Stadium. The Eels $1.35, Sea Eagles $3.23. At the line, the Eels minus 8.5 at $1.90. Been disappointing, the Sea Eagles, for mine. There's no other way to describe it. Gids?
No, you're right, Matty, for sure. And that was a real disappointing one last week. They got pumped there by the Broncos. The Broncos were on fire. And I think we spoke about that, mate, last week. The Broncos sort of being at home, magic round, Reynolds up against his old club. So, yeah, but they copped a smacking. And, mate, even Turbo, I don't know if he's 100% fit at the moment. He's got his knee strapped, Tommy Trbojevic.
He's so important, Turbo, isn't he? Like, he just seems to be the barometer.
He is. I mean, if you look at what Tedesco does for the Roosters, and we were talking about how influential Turbo was for Manly when he come back from his injury last year, and mate, I'm sure he's carrying his knee at the moment, but we're not exactly 100% sure. Again, but also the Eels, mate, they're just not as consistent as a top 2, top 3 team where we probably spoke about them at the start of the year. But I'm going to back the Eels, mate, in this one. I'm going to take them without the start, mate. 8.5 start.
Well, I actually didn't mention this, but the Sea Eagles won both games last year, a combined score of 84-16. So they do play well against
right.
Parramatta. So I don't want to throw you off here, kids, but that is just a very, very interesting.
They might find something for this match like they did last year. Who knows?
Right, let's
On
turn
current form, I won't back them on that one.
No, and you're in good nick, so just stick to your guns. Hey, Dragons take on the Warriors Saturday 3 p.m. It's at Jubilee Stadium. Head-to-head, Dragons $1.51. Warriors are at $2.61 at the line. Dragons minus 5.5 at $1.90. Some key stats: Dragons won the opening round clash this year, 28-16. So done it comfortably, and Ravalawa, I hope I've got that right, Gids.
You've got it spot on, mate.
He scored a hat-trick in their last game. So are you going to play around that again, Gids? Do you reckon he's going to come out and score one again?
Mate, I don't care about that stat, Matty. I've just got the Palmer bet app up. It's live and running. And I'm going to go for a really attractive upset here, mate. I'm going to go to the Warriors as an upset, 1-12. And mate, I'm live streaming this. My Palmer bet app says 560 for the Warriors, 1-12.
Geez, that is good value.
So, mate, that's going to be my upset of the round. I still like what I see in the Warriors at different times. I looked at the team sheet. The Dragons, geez, I don't know how you back them week in, week out. Probably similar to a lot, those bottom probably four teams. They're just not consistent enough. And last week, they were in the battle to win the game, but I can sniff an upset, mate, on the cards here.
Love it. I like it. I must admit, I'm with you. I reckon the Warriors' best is actually good, and I just don't think Dragons are doing enough for mine at the moment. So why can't they come out and win? So 1-12. I like
1-12.
$5. Won't get much better than that. What about the Cowboys? Now, this is going to be their test. They've won their last 5 gigs. They're coming up against a powerhouse side of the Melbourne Storm. It's Saturday night, 5:30 p.m. at Country Bank Stadium in Queensland. Cowboys, $2.67. And the Storm are $1.48. So at the line, the Storm minus 5.5, $1.90. Okay. Cowboys have won, obviously, they're 5 straight, okay, including last week's Magic Round. But the Storm Gids have won 12 straight against the Cowboys, dating back to 2016.
That's a pretty damning stat, mate. That one, that's for sure. I'm not sure if they'll be aware of that. They'll be aware that I haven't had much success there. That's for sure. That the Cowboys come into this one, but look, if they've ever got an opportunity to beat the Storm at the moment, it's this weekend. They've, as I said, they've won 5 on the bounce. Your man Pappenhausen is still, mate, unavailable, and mate, they're full of belief and confidence that the Cowboys at the moment, and they're at home, so. This is their best opportunity to knock off the Storm since 2016. So I'm actually going to back the Cows on this one.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wash your mouth.
No, I think, mate, I think they're playing with, as I said, plenty of confidence, plenty of belief. Their set players are looking really well. Big Tom Malolo's happy, mate. I've seen him in the press conference after the game, and they're having a bit of a laugh and a joke, and that obviously just has an influence on your performance, your happiness off the field. So well. I think this is a great opportunity for the Cowboys to knock the Storm over. But mate, Storm are on the back of a pretty healthy touch up from the Panthers, and mate, I don't think you reckon Craig Bellamy would have had a fairly honest video session with him after that game.
Oh, absolutely. They'll bounce back the Storm this week. Don't worry about that, kids. I can't go with you with the Cowboys, mate. I do have a little the Cowboys, but not this weekend. Hey, Roosters v Panthers. They were good last week, the Roosters. Can they upset one of the powerhouse of the competition? It's at the SCG Saturday night. $3.90 the Roosters. Head-to-head, Panthers $1.26. At the line, Panthers minus 10.5, $1.90. Panthers have won their last 4 straight against the Roosters. Tedesco has 5 tries in his last 3 games. You touched on it. He's in good nick. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, mate, I can't go past the Panthers. We spoke about that big clash last week against the Storm. They were just so clinical. I watched their tries again, the highlights from that game, and mate, all their set plays. Everyone knows their role, and they do it really well. And obviously they defend their backsides off too when they're required to do that. They're rarely injured. They seem to be keeping the same guys on the park week in, week out. and they're all top class players. So that has an influence on how clinical their attack is, and your stability in the squad. So I've got to go with the Panthers on this one, but it's a great game to settle down, mate. 7:35 Saturday night, isn't it?
Oh, the SCG too, a magnificent stadium. It is brilliant to see, and there'll be a big crowd there, I reckon, too, Saturday night. Sunday, it's the Rabbitohs taking on the Canberra Raiders, 2 p.m. Apex Oval in Dubbo.
Dubbo,
A little bit different. So Dubbo gets a crack. Head-to-head, the Rabbits $1.52, Raiders $2.55. At the line, the Rabbitohs minus 5.5, $1.90. Now, the Rabbitohs won their only clash against the Raiders last year, and the Rabbitohs have scored 24 plus points in all of their wins this year. So when they're up and about, they're playing well.
That's a good start, that. Yeah.
Defensively, they're good.
Mate, that's a great stat. 24 or more points in all their wins this year. So, mate, when they're playing well...
You've got to pluck these stats out, mate, week in, week out.
Mate, I've never seen someone study the form, mate, anyone better than yourself, Matty. But, look, the Rabbits, again, they've got a great squad. They've had some real good success over the years, so they've got some great players within their team. But they've had a couple of losses where we've raised our eyebrows and asked a few questions around where they're at on the back of Wayne Bennett not being there this year. But also, the Raiders' performance last week, I thought it was a real gutsy performance. I think they had 3 in the sin bin at one stage during that game. Yep. Massive underdogs against the Sharks, and I just thought they showed a hell of a lot of grit and determination to stick in that game and win it. So it was a big effort. I'm sure they'll take plenty of confidence out of that one. But I think I'll go with the Rabbits, mate, on this one.
Just head-to-head, mate. Happy with $1.52?
Yeah, no, I think you can give away 5.5 starts for the Rabbits. I think get a bit more value, about $1.90.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. Love it. Righto. Final game, Sunday, 4:05. Titans v the Sharks. Seabus Super Stadium, of course. Titans $2.81. Sharks $1.44. At the line, Sharks minus 6.5, $1.90. Some key stats out of this one. Sharks have 6 straight wins versus the Titans. So they've got the wool over them at the moment. And Titans have not scored more than 20 points since round 3. That's got to be a concern, Gids.
Yeah, man, I think it is. We're still not sure about, where I suppose those bottom teams sit as far as Titans, probably Knights, Tigers, Bulldogs. Who else have we got down there? Probably Dragons is the other one to throw into that one as well. So the only way to build belief and some, I guess, a bit of confidence as far as you got to have back-to-back wins. And it's not just about, probably 2 in a row. It's stringing a few wins in a row, and we're still probably yet to see that from the Titans. Look, Sharks are missing Jesse Remy and Will Kennedy at the back. So I thought they looked disjointed in their attack last week. They really didn't look like scoring at all throughout that game, where they got beat convincingly. So I think they've got a bit to work on there, the Sharks from last week, especially attack-wise. I know Nico Hines has gone from fullback into the halves, with Kennedy being out suspended. So they've got a bit to work on attack-wise. They just looked a bit all over the shop. They weren't really threatening with their plays attack-wise. So, but I'm going to stick with the Sharks. I think they'll bounce back. I think Craig Fitzgibbon will work pretty hard on what they need to sort out for this week, and I just haven't seen enough out of the Titans to see them winning back-to-back games at the moment.
Yeah, beautiful, Gids. Now, what about your best value? Which way are you going to go? Are you going to go the Cowboys over the Storm, or are you going to go the Warriors?
Mate, I'm going to go the Warriors because I love the value there of 1 to 12 around $5, and I like the sniff of an upset there. I think we've seen a genuine, at least 1 or 2 upsets every single week, which is good. It's good for the game. Tough as a punter. No good for anyone's punters clubs or
pub a bit, love
any
it.
of the so mate, that's my best value, and Gids' best bet. I'm going to go Anthony Milford, anytime try scorer. His first game back in probably over 12 months, I think it's been, and against his old club, the Broncos. I love the story of a welcome back to the game.
What odds you got for Gids?
Yeah, mate, I looked this up again live on the Palmer Bet app, and It's around $6.25, which I think is really good value, mate. Because you know what, I've seen him over at training at the moment. He's been training his backside off for about 6 weeks since he's arrived in Newcastle.
Yep.
All he's been doing, the majority of his work has been fitness work, one-on-one with one of the heat conditioners. And obviously he's been jumping in and doing what's required from a team attack point of view and defence point of view. But he's dropped a number of kilos to get in shape, to be back ready for NRL standards. So
brilliant.
I like the story of a bit of a fairy tale comeback.
Right, I want you to run through because you only missed one leg last week, right? On the spot. I'm gonna key it in as we go. You pick the teams, mate. You pick so Newcastle, Brisbane.
Okay, mate. Here comes Newcastle. Tigers over the Dogs.
Eels.
Yep. Eels over the Eagles.
Yep.
Warriors over the Dragons.
Yep.
The Cowboys probably upsetting the Storm.
Carded out. Yep.
Panthers is over the Roosters.
Yep.
Rabbits over the Raiders, and the Sharks over the Titans.
Right, Gids. That is going to give us.
There you go, mate.
That is going to give us. Do you want drum roll? Drum roll. We need a drum roll. 126-1.
Oh, fair dinkum.
That is huge.
Here we go.
So that when you got a couple of upsets, you got a couple of 260, the Warriors and of course the Cowboys. You can put some value into it. So and your side, the Newcastle Knights. So
mate, as we've seen, we've seen last week the Raiders over the Sharks there. What else did we see there last week? Probably the Titans over the Dragons was probably somewhat of an upset, but we've seen it week in, week out. There's always a genuine big upset, and if not two. And
you can multi-guard it too on Palmer Bet. So,
multi-guard it.
Yeah, it's just guard your multi. So I'm going to have a little piece of that. I'm going to have a little piece of it. Now, gamble responsibly. That is the key message.
Absolutely.
And I know if you haven't downloaded the app at Palm, but if you haven't been involved before, go and do it. It is really simple. They have a thing there, the bookies bag too. So there's always little things in there that just can give you a little bit of a boost over the weekend and stuff, which is just sensational. So do it in a responsible manner, of course, but have a bit of fun and get amongst the kids.
Mate, absolutely. You don't need to put too much on when it's paying $126, matey.
That's it. I love it. And you were one leg away last week. So you're in good nick at the moment. Now, listen, what's happening in the man bar, mate? You got any cans on ice or anything for us, or what do you got happening there, bro?
Mate, there might be a couple just in the bar fridge there, mate. Just there's a little nightcap, a couple of Steel Cities.
There might be a couple. I reckon there's going to be a few more than a couple, kids. Hey, listen, mate, have a wonderful weekend. Going to be a great round 11 action in the NRL, buddy.
Absolutely, mate. Have a good one.